Hello, really Prima people are having an amazing. First things first, I do think we might see lower prices targeting these just based on what we're watching now. And the reason I'm saying this for lower prices is because one of my students hit me up and says, out of everything I've gone through as an executor and coming up, what were the most difficult things to follow relative to my rules? And when I did break my rules or was inconsistent, whatever it is, how did I get myself back on track? How did I stick to my rules? How did I remain consistent? How did I remain vigilant and aware and execute with efficiency, just like I still do now? But first things first, you need to know what your rules are. So when you get into a chart, this is a 1 minute chart, this is a 5 minute, 15 minute, doesn't really matter. But you need to know what your rules are. So where do you start? Where does your analysis, your ability to interpret the financial market begin? For me personally, it begins on a 1 hour chart. It's the first thing I would look at. So I go to a 1 hour chart. That's the first rule. And when I'm on a 1 hour chart, I need to identify the 3 previous highs and the 3 previous lows. Why? Because that will provide me context and narrative. So no problem, I mark the 3 previous lows, and the ones that have already been traded into, I mark it in red. I dotted lines, and then the ones that haven't, for buy side, I'll mark them in blue. So now what do I have? I have my 6 reference points. These are my 6 price levels, my 6 price targets, price analysis, whatever you want to call them, but these are my 6 prices that I'll either engage in. I would look to see setups, inefficiencies, liquidity, doesn't really matter, but these are the levels that are important to me. Nothing else matters except these. Then there's one more variable, which is the dealing range. So once you have the high, whatever that high is, and whatever that low is of that range you're looking at, have a fib. And this helps me when we are outside the dealing range. So which is more likely to happen, sell side or buy side? Personally, just because of one Harvard standard deviation 50%, I think we might see potential highs. Okay, if not, then might as well call it there, but I think we might gravitate into highs. But anyways, so judging by a 15-minute chart, I do see lower prices instead. But anyways, so we go straight to a 5-minute chart, and from a 5-minute chart, what do we have? We have the current dealing range, and what we do is we mark potential inefficiencies. The first inefficiency that jumped at me when I came here was this here for sell side, which shows me that we're potentially going to see lower prices first targeting that low, right? And then ultimately that low there, which is a double bottom. There we go, double bottom. Not this in red. Okay, but just keep that there instead. And we might see it gravitate to these lows and then ultimately take out the dealing range low. So we'll analyze from this perspective. So the hardest thing I had to overcome, I swear to God, was how do I desensitize myself from the trade setup itself? How does Alfie not get attached to whether I make money or lose money? That was the hardest thing. Nothing else was harder than that. And in terms of following your rules, rules are easy if you know what those rules are. What makes it difficult to follow those rules is what happens in your personal life. Because the small things that happen in your personal life dictate your resolve, your integrity, and your ability to stick to a specific process and not allow emotion to cloud judgment, which is very hard. And I notice how the first area of consolidation after the drop is within 50%, which we could see it raise for these lows. And then ultimately this small inefficiency right there. Right there. And then we might see potential higher prices. Yeah, personally, I don't want that to happen. I will never lie to you. That's not cool in terms of, I don't want to see that. Personally, I think it has done enough in terms of retracement. 6 o'clock opened and traded low, and if it continues, then okay, 100% will continue to take read it as it prints. But personally, I don't think that's the case. This could be interpreted as a first shift in market structure, but in reality, and I was looking at the opening price, honestly, I wasn't looking at anything, but the fact that we did not body close above that could signify we're not going to see higher prices, and this was a total soup for lower prices using this as an inversion for shorts. So the next minute candlestick opens and bumps that's a beautiful short, which I wouldn't take because Personally, I would love to see higher prices targeting these relative equal highs right here, not those lows. I think the manipulation was enough, and the reason for that is because I'm looking at the previous hour's dealing range from there to there. The last inefficiency before the run leg up is this one here. So this baby here, this one here, at exactly 4:30, 3:37. This one here. This is the one my brain is hypersensitive focused to. And if we're gonna trade below that, we're gonna target the previous ranges low, and then obviously that low. That's what my brain sees in terms of analysis. But anyways, that's not the point. And okay, remove these, and we keep it as is. We can remove these as well, just so that we know what my eye is focusing on there, and we're just going to look at what price is doing here. So one of the major things I struggled with was, first of all, knowing what your rules are. You need to know them. My rules are very simple. I need the 3 previous reference points, 3 previous lows, 3 previous highs in the current dealing range. And once I have the dealing range, I'm going to execute relative to inefficiencies and liquidity at 50%, 75%, and 25%. And my goal is to go long or short on time. That's the one thing I had to drill in, time, which is what time do you enter the trade? It had to be a 3-minute interval. So from obviously 0 o'clock, counting from 0 o'clock, 03, 06, 09, 012, etc., etc. All those times were very, very important to me. I really cared about those times because they gave me something to focus on, something that's constant and that repeats. And my goal was to find how can I interpret and maneuver through anticipating swing highs and swing lows forming at these 3-minute intervals. And the hardest part was just trusting that the fact that these will play over time, because it got to a point where I became consistent. Because if you don't know about me, it took me 7 years to get here. 6 years of make nothing but not even progress in any shape or form, and on my 7th year everything blew up. It was amazing. It is amazing, but it took me that long to finally find myself. And let me tell you what my problem was. My main problem, obviously you will all go through the learning curves, but let's say you have found your model, you have found what you're looking for, you found that thing that says, hey, get in the trade and we're going to make money. Mine was 3-minute intervals and swing highs and swing lows. Once I found that, trusting that will play out over time, that was the hard part. That was the difficult part. Because when you are met with adversities in your personal life, you tend to throw the rules out the window very quickly. And the only thing that sobered me up at that time was me realizing that the reason I'm either over leveraging or over trading relative to my consistency, like I can be consistent for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, but then that one random day where I lose everything, I needed to understand why was that the case? Why did that happen to me as the executor, and how could I best navigate and change that? Because even though I'm good, even though I know when to enter, why to enter, there's always this constant anxiety looming at the end of the corner that all this will fail and I'll give all the gains back. I won't be able to keep. This is a beautiful sell-off here, using the 50% of this. Excuse me. Using the 50% of that inefficiency, and we could see it gravitate for these lows and ultimately 25% of that dealing range. Personally, I don't lean into shorts. I don't want them. I'm okay. This is indication of a potential power of 3 where it opens, trades lower. We do have all these inefficiencies, so we could trade into them, which you don't, personally, I don't want to see. But it seems like the market is really covering inefficiencies today. And preferably, if it didn't take out this high, it would have been very nice. Then it wouldn't be considered or seen as a turtle soup. It would have just been seen as like if it like consolidated just above here, it would have been a lot better. But anyways, so literally one of the major things that I did wrong was I knew what to do, when to do it, but I just did it more than I should. Meaning I would over leverage, I would over trade, I would place more than one contract. And that's why I can't stress put one contract more than enough, because I know what it feels like to make $20 and be happy. I know what it feels like to make $11 and think you're the best thing in the world, because that's the reality you're in. That's the one you have to overcome. And slowly but surely, one thing I realized is time is the only thing that will save you. Time is the only thing that can, will, and is going to save you. Because when you make all your mistakes, when you blow an account, when you lose your finances, because I began my journey with investors' funds. So I did not begin it with prop firms or whatever. Like I had to go the gritty route where I had to convince someone to give me money. And if I lost that money, man, I'm done for. I'll most probably get sued and I can't afford to pay them back. But literally, I had to eat, live, breathe that. And that's scary because you have to trust yourself and you have to follow your rules. And the only thing that kept me sane was watching my personal life change in front of me, where I lost friends because I was too busy executing. I was back testing, studying, and I was learning how to sit with my loss. And I watched people change because they thought I was stingy. I didn't want to give them money, or I didn't want to teach them how to invest, or I didn't want to do this. And all of them, I started losing them with time. And whenever I did an attempt to try and get them back by showing them how much money I made, or how they can do this or they can do that, the next day I would usually lose 50%, 80% of the funds, and I'll have to spend 2 more months trying to make the funds back. You don't know how it feels like to consistently make $19, 15, 20, 30, and one day on random day number 57, you lose 650. And then you're like, what the hell? You set yourself back 3 months. So what sobered me up was how many times I watched myself set me back. And the only thing that always set me back was over leveraging and over trading. So I couldn't take an L. I couldn't take a win. I would make 10% of my income. I would make 20% of my income in a single trade, but that's not enough. I'll make 100%, 200% of my return in an entire trading session, but that's still not enough in and of itself. And apologies, I am in the office today. Please forgive me. I am in the office today. But just to give perspective, so we did open beautiful last sweep of these lows, and we are continuing to see it gravitate into 50% of that inefficiency, which is what you didn't want to see if you're looking for shorts. But the best area to look for shorts is right here. Watch this. This level here. So if we do trade into it and we wick fast and we displace below this low, then of course we are going to target the dealing range low. But literally, one of the major things that I had to accept was time. Time. Like, really allow time to lift you. Watch the people around you fail. Watch them achieve their own dreams, their own goals, but never feel like they're moving faster than you. One of my aunt, if I could read this to you, she said, some goodbyes were God's protection, some delays were divine redirection. You're not behind, you're being aligned. So you need to live life knowing that you're not behind anything. You're just being aligned to your own specific path, your own specific reality, your own specific truth, and you need to live in it. And I had to watch time, man. Like, you really had to. Like, watch how sticking to one contract over 1 year doesn't change anything in your life. Like, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't pay your bills. It really does nothing. And you understand that that's the feeling you're supposed to have every single day, because that's true desensitization. You're desensitized from the outcome. The outcome does not matter, but now you're sensitized to it. Whether it plays in your favor or it doesn't, that really matters. And if you have that philosophy, if you have those thoughts, you're never going to overcome yourself, because every loss you take will be met with fear, will be met with anxiety, will be met with, let me do more, let me fix it, let me try this, let me do that. And you can never really sit with it because you have never seen it play over time. You need to, or I had to, accept time. Because when I started trading it relative to 3-minute intervals, executing at swing highs and swing lows that engineer at 3-minute intervals, I'm blessed. It's a blessing, to get to a point where this is beautiful in and of itself. But so if the next minute candlestick does open and not take out that high, then this will be the high for the 7 o'clock hour, or 7 to this. And then everything will be down close candlesticks. Or not really down close candlesticks, but it will be making an attempt for rapid repricing lower, which is what I don't want to see. Preferably, I would love to gravitate for this high here. That's what I would love to see. Right there. That's perfect. But you want to see it really make an attempt for 75%. And once we reach there, you want to see speed and distance jumping into that liquidity. And also mark that high now. Because it was a total super awake manipulation. So very nice to watch. But let's wait for the candlestick to close. But literally when I started executing and analyzing, this was the hard part. Getting desensitized from just watching it. I'm not making money, I'm not losing money. I'm just watching. And you're trying to understand which way are we going to go, which was the perfect entry, and you're allowing all your thoughts to come out. All of them. And you're journaling them, and you re-listen to yourself over and over again. Because one thing you need to realize is the only thing that can save you in this financial industry is time. That's the only thing that can help you, that can aid in more efficient trading, that can help you become the best version of you. Because when you allow time to carry you into success, you're also allowing your personal life to change alongside with you. I wanted my bank account to change faster than my real life, not realizing that I had to let go of a lot of things in my personal life that were detrimental to my growth. I had to give up a few addictions, and those small wins in those addictions, because trading is a game of, you tell yourself you're going to do something and you freaking do it. That's trading. That is trading. You tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it. So if you can't do it, that means these things in your personal life which you tell yourself you're never going to do, but you still do. And those get carried on to your trading. That's how it was for me. They got carried on. And I had to cut them. And then when I cut them, it became easier to accept. It became easier to understand that my impulsive urges stemmed from my inability to control what's going on in my personal life. And I could never get the perfect executions, the swing lows and the swing highs, and get the best stop losses if I don't allow time to save me. Allow the fruits of my labor, meaning my ability to interpret and analyze price, to show its fruitfulness over time. To not show its fruitfulness now in front of you, but to show it over time relative to my bank account. That was my goal. That was my purpose. That was the only thing I focused on. And every day it was just to get there and do one thing and do one thing well. Did I mark the 6 previous reference points? Yes. Do I have the dealing range of the 6 reference points? Yes. Did I understand which inefficiency, why I'm going long, why I'm going short at that relative inefficiency, that level, that 50%, 75%? Doesn't really matter. And if it was to go in the opposing direction, can I identify an entry model that would have been ideal if I was doing it on the opposite side of the spectrum? And if I can find that and I have those, then that's a good trading day for me. If I don't have those rules and set in stones, then I'm fighting a losing battle. I'm literally fighting a losing battle. So on a 5-minute chart, we filled that whole inefficiency in which we would have been anticipating for potential short setup. The best long would have been through using the small inefficiency when o'clock opened and traded lower. That was a very nice long that you could have taken targeting these highs right here, or this inefficiency even, and then ultimately maybe 75%. But personally, if we don't take out this high, then obviously we're going to see potential lower prices. And if this performs the function of a swing high, not good. You would love to see the swing high getting tagged in the next 8 minutes, in less than 8 minutes, because if not, then that could be the swing high for this hour, and we'll continue to see it raise lower as it filled this whole inefficiency and performed its function, which I don't think is the case. I wanted to raise for that swing high right there. But that's basically the gist of it. And I had to sit with time, because if you have, for example, you place executions or you have money and you say maximum loss is $20, and for that day you lost 200, you know what? If I did that and I lost $200, this will be the best short if I was to go short this one right here. And everything should be down close candlesticks relative to this inefficiency if we're going to continue to see lower prices right there. See that? Personally, I don't see that. I think this is going to play inversion for higher prices, and we could see 0720 really blast higher above these swing highs there. Because now we're getting a bit in sync with the financial market. We are getting to see, okay, we're making higher prices and we're not making lower prices, and we're continuing to study time. Because what we do mistake as traders, when you're in a trade like this, you're not analyzing this. All you're thinking about is, are we getting to my stop loss, are we getting to my TP? But you're not marking these things. You're not marking places of invalidation, places of potential continuation, places where you could pyramid, places where you feel anxious, things you wanted to do, things that it should. You're not marking these because you're so focused on, it's going to stop me out. And if you're so focused on that, you're going to eat, breathe, live that reality. And it is going to efficiently remove you from the marketplace, because that's the reality you choose to live in. The reality of traders is to be the most efficient person out there. Back to my example, if I was intention beautiful, we took out that high and making an attempt for what? That, and we're about to touch 75%. This is from here to there. That's a beautiful trade. That's a model in and of itself. That I'm done. That's 20 handles, I'm finito. I am finito. But anyways, just to give perspective, this is what we're on. We're on fire today. So we entered risk to reward ratio of 1:13, and you're risking $2.3 to make 31. These are hard for you to get here, where you follow your rules to the tick. To the tick, you get this. It might not hit TP now, just the market will spike me. That's what it usually does. It will spike me for having such an execution, and obviously revealing it after the fact. But it's beautiful for you to, when you follow your rules, where you're entering it, confirm, you're entering at 3-minute intervals. What time of the entry was 06:33? Where was it? It was 50%, just traded lower into that same inefficiency inside the previous hours. And stop loss was just after that candlestick closed. I do have a recording of that. I won't upload it. That's why I chose to do it in 2 parts. But this is what you want to get to. And if you don't get here, if the reason you won't get here is because you're not content with this. You're not content with what you make. This can easily change. Easy. Just add a 0. Just add a freaking 0. And everything else changes. And the amount you make, the amount you lose, everything else becomes relative to the observer. But if for example, if my goal was I over leveraged here, I'll be so anxious, and all I want is for it to spool high. And every retracement is met with fear and anxiety that we're going to stop me out. And if it stops me out, I'll be fearful, I'll be anxious, I'll be this, that, and that's the reality you're going to live in, because that's what you decide to focus on, and you are what you focus on in this industry. It's a beautiful swing high. Now, we did engineer relative equal highs. If we do begin a retracement, then I can anticipate some measure of it. 7 o'clock opens in a potential power of 3, which is beautiful in and of itself. But you need to get to a point where you're desensitized from this. Even when we're trading against you, and you're not fearful, you're not anxious. But in order for you to get here, you need to learn how to tape read. You need to learn how to trust yourself. You need to learn how to be more efficient in your ability to manage risk and manage your own expectations, and hold yourself accountable on many degrees. When I lost more than I intended to, let's say I'm risking $20 and I lose 200, that is equivalent to 10 trades. So if I was to take those 10 trades throughout the week and I place on average 2 trades a week, that means I will not allow myself to trade 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4, 5 weeks of no trading. So every rule that I broke was met with time away from the charts. And it's me trying to hold myself accountable and allowing risk to catch up to my reality in terms of time, because they need to correlate. Your real life and your trading life, they need to be in sync, because if they're not in sync, one of them will be out of sync, and the other one that out of sync will affect the other. And if one is more riled up, and like your personal life is going through the worst, then your trading is most probably going to be similar. You're not going to have the best thing. And you need to understand that, and you need to navigate through that reality. And you need to understand that you're the best thing since sliced freaking bread, you know? And if you follow these rules, over time they'll make you money. And even if those rules are not the best rules in the world, but the fact that you follow them within a constant period of time, then and only then will those rules work. And if you have anything other than that, where you're trading freaking 7 trades a day, 10 trades when you wanted to only place one, you want it more than anyone, but your ambition will be your downfall. And you're never going to catch the lows and highs, ever. It's going to be impossible for you, ever. The reason is because you're always, when this is peak anxiety, this is peak fear. This is peak anxiety, peak fear. If the market is really driven by greed and fear, the largest amount of greed and fear is found here and here where I entered. That's literally it. You know, when I see trades, I'm proud of me. It took me years of constantly following this same process. Every day, every weekend, don't stop. Every day, every week. And you have to force yourself to believe that, because that is true. That is true. That is real. You don't believe it. And for me, it was too good to be true. This was too good to be true. I couldn't believe me, Alfred, from South Africa, chilling in my grandma's garage. Never did I think that I would do that. I would achieve this. Until I sat with me. Until I lost the people I didn't think I would ever lose. All for the course of money. All because I'm moving too slow. If only they waited just a year or two, you know, they would have been able to experience this. But no. And I'm grateful that the world has removed those people from my life. And if you have those in your life as well, I pray that God removes them, because they're slowing you down. They're hindering your progress. Because you want to achieve it so bad to show it off to them and to impress them, or to give them a life that you've always wanted for them. But the fact that you want to give them so bad is the reason why you're losing. Because you don't really need to, you get to. So stop. If they're really meant for you, if everything you're really meant to achieve is really yours, then take it one trade at a time. Watch, let time build your leverage. Don't let leverage build leverage. Allow time. Just let it. Let time. And that's the only thing you can do, because I had to accept that I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I'm going to get it wrong, get it right for the rest of my life. You know? For the rest of my life. You know? So if I'm impacted by these emotions and feelings, then man, it's going to be a long road for me, hey? It's going to be a long road for me. You know, because it took me 6 years. But on my 7th, that's when I realized it. On my 7th, that's when I was like, holy crap. And I came on Twitter on my 8th year. You know, and now I'm 12 years. I'm 12 years. I'm 12 years in this baby. 11 years, going 12 next year. But here I am. You know, getting in at swing highs and swing lows, baby. You know, getting efficient removal. And also the reason I'm showing efficient removal is also for my guy, you know, like literally you can get it wrong 3 times in a row, you know, and that doesn't force me to fall on tilt. I'll take my L and walk away. Take my L and walk away. I'm thinking of maybe, let me not. Let me not give that away. I'll give away some other time. But personally, I would love to spend, obviously, like the remainder of time with you and really showcase, but I need to get to my office. and I need to start working. Jesus, man, because it's freaking 1:30 p.m. here, and it's currently my lunchtime as well. So let me stay maybe 10 minutes or so. But literally, man, you have to allow time to play a factor. You have to allow yourself to accept the fact that, hey, it won't take you as fast as you think it will. And if you want it to work for you faster by over leveraging and over trading, you're losing time. And when you lose that account, watch how long it takes for you to get the next one and count how many days. Like if you're journaling, man, man, like I remember one time where I lost my investors funds, but it was the first time they gave me, and they were okay with it. They were like, "Ah, it's fine. We accept." It was just a test drive, and the anxiety of having to present that to them, and you have to explain to them that the reason you fell on tilt was because you didn't want to lose. You can't explain to them. You can't rationalize the impulsive need to fix what's not broken to someone who doesn't understand what you do. Because that's the truth. When you lose that one trade, you want to fix it. You want to get quickly, but that doesn't work here, man. And you have to allow time to play a factor. And that's when I realized, oh my God, because they were putting so much pressure on me. They wanted me to achieve this, to achieve that at this very fast-paced speeds. And I had to slow them down. And I told them, hey guys, man, I lost a substantial amount relative to mental capital and real money. But if I'm to lose all your money, it will take me so and so days, so and so years. Are you willing to accept that? If you're willing to proceed with me, because I don't want you to think that I'm better than I am, because I'm just discovering myself, There we go, buy side liquidity tag. This is a beautiful place to remove execution. If you have longs here, this is the best place. And if you double down there, that's a beautiful place to pyramid. You can move stop to BE, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And this is a 20 handle execution in and of itself. But in order for you to get to this point, you really need to accept time and add that as a variable, because I had to do that. I had to tell my investors, hey man, if I'm to lose your money, to take me 2-3 years of constant loss, like every trade from today on, like live that reality. Think, if you were to place every trade from today and place one trade a day, and they were all to be losing trades, every single one of them, 100% losing rate. That's it. That's the reality you're trying to envision. How long will it take you? How long will it take you? And if it will take you a year, it will take you 6 months, doesn't really matter. But if you have that stagnant amount, that stagnant number, that stagnant time frame, live there. Live there. Don't do anything other than one thing for those many days. And then watch. Everything changes. Everything changes when you reach that last day, because you're never going to have 100% lose rate. You're never going to have. Ever. Personally, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. If you do that, that's bad. Over the course of a year, that's bad. Even if you don't have 5%, that's, I don't know. But literally, you're going to have it. And then once you have that record, then you have statistics. You have you have data to work around, to improve upon, to understand where you're making these mistakes, and then you can improve. But personally, this is perfect. It's amazing. My goal when I came here was to give you perspective that I'm looking for shorts, just so that you could lean into that and then now watch as it plays in your favor, or whatever it is, doesn't really matter. But for you to live in this reality, it's impossible if you keep focusing on the money, if you keep focusing on the entry, if you keep focusing on everything other than the need to follow your rule, because that's the only thing that will save you, my good sir. That's the only thing that will save you. Your rules will get you here. And one thing you must know about rules are like coil. Sorry, traders are like coil. Traders are like coal, like COAL. And our rules are what pressure us into diamonds. Did you know that diamonds come from coal? And it comes from coal being pressured intensely by rocks or whatever happens in the ground, doesn't really matter. But literally, that's the reality. And when you get such high RRs, Like I'm boiling. Like oh, freaking it's a beautiful execution, bro. This is fire from point of entry to stop loss placement to target. It's perfect for me. I don't need to catch the tick high. I don't need to catch the tick low, baby. I'm the best thing since sliced freaking bread. But anyways, obviously I'm just trying to do that for my journal. Sorry. I love telling myself those things because it's the truth. It's the freaking truth. Busted my ass off for this. But literally, in order for you to get to this point, you need to allow time. Time is the only thing that's going to save you. That's the only thing that's going to save you. Nothing else is going to save you. And when you focus on your rules are like what pressure you as the trader into diamonds. Your call. And every rule you set, it's pressuring you more. And the more you live in that pressure, the more you dwell in that pressure, the more you embrace that pressure, the more it builds you. And the one thing is you can't live in that pressure because that pressure makes you feel uncomfortable. That's a different reality. How do you live in a reality where you lost money today, but you can trust that you will make money tomorrow, and that money will feed your kids, your family, pay your rent, buy your food, and sustain your lifestyle? That requires a different animal in terms of thinking, in terms of being. Freaking hell. Okay, my good sirs. I am mentally done with this execution, and it's beautiful trade in and of itself. It is beautiful. Personally, I would love for you to spool for the next 30 minutes or for the next 3 minutes to target. We have engineered relative equal lows. We've swept these highs here, which I would love to have seen more animation. Like we swept and then continue to see high, but just towards that high, and not for it to remain within this current dealing range. But anyways, you have to understand that your rules are what get you here. If you don't follow your rules, then you're never going to get here. All your trades are going to be nothing but over leveraged executions. They're going to be nothing but your inability to navigate through your own impulses, through your own fears, through your own insecurities, and you're going to stay there. You're going to remain mediocre for the rest of your freaking life because you can't follow not the rules, which is the rules, but you just can't trust yourself. You can't tell yourself you're not going to do something and not do it. You can't. It's impossible. And the reason it's impossible because you want it too bad. And the fact that you want it doesn't mean you're going to get it. You're going to be part of the statistics which loses it all. And don't be that person that loses everything. Don't be that person because it's going to be a very difficult reality for you to live in when you have to look back at all the years that you have spent and how bad you wanted it, but you never got it because you were just not good enough, because you just couldn't follow your rules, because you didn't sit through adversity. And when you get retracements like this is met with fear. You're scared it's going to go to your stop loss. You're scared, and it's sad, and it's because you've conditioned yourself so much. You have put the nail to the coffin, and you have poisoned yourself for no reason. And even if it stops me out, then I'll just take my L and walk away. It would have been a lovely execution. I would have loved it. And I would understand why it wouldn't trigger me in, just because of relative to the way I executed and the way I presented this presentation today. But I pray to God that you can, it's not a matter of whether you can or you cannot follow your rules. And also, what time is this? 7:30. So when this drop happens, your brain is focusing, we're going to hit my stop loss, not focusing on time. What time is it? It's a 3-minute interval. So personally, you don't want the next candlestick to take out that low. If it does, that's signs that the retracement is going to go deeper and deeper, and you're not on side. You get, but you don't see that because you're focusing on the money, focusing on whether it's losing or winning, and you've lost the plot. But if you don't sit through this every day for the rest of your life, because this is not a depiction of your worth. That's what you have to get away from you. This is not a depiction of your worth. It's a depiction of your reality, yes, that you're currently in now, but overcome it. You are going to overcome it. This can easily turn into 2.5K, $25,000. This can easily be that, just on a different leverage. But now, do you think you can live with that? You can't. Relative to all this run, you can't. You're not born in that world. You're not born in that reality. You're not born into that level of excellence. That level of excellence is forged over time. And the one variable you don't have to your trading is time. That's the one you should have when journaling and overcoming adversity. When you have a problem, when you have rules that you set for yourself and you can't follow them. The reason you can't follow them is because of maybe impulses in your personal life. But Find small things that you can change in your personal life which allow you to follow rules, and and say no to those things. Like I had to say no to a few addictions. I had to say no to them, and the power of me saying no to those addictions, the power of me maybe working out, hitting the gym, those translated into my trading, and those made me the best version of me. Honestly, if we do get efficient remove, I'll take my L, but I want to move my stop here, because if it stops me out, I don't want to sit with you guys through that retracement and then read the retracement, and then I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. Sorry. I will take my Alan Walker. I will take my Alan Walker. I'm not afraid. Which is 20 handle, stop and 20 handle TP. But in other days, I would never move. I don't see a need to. But I just want to move now, because if it efficiently removes me, then it might as well happen while we're in this price action. And it will happen within less than 10 minutes, whether it will hit TP or hit target. Why? Because we have a dealing, if you remove all these, we have a dealing range high there, swing high, right here. That's swing high, and we have a swing low right here. So that's the current range we're in, right? Then you can look at it like this. Personally, if it touches 50%, you want to see it expand for those highs. Failure to do so will play null and void, and this area will be very heavy and send the price lower, which is what I don't want to see. You can also move your stop just below that low, which is a bit too tight for me. I don't want to personally, but you can as well, because it's at the 50% and you want to see continued spooling higher. But that's basically what my brain is interpreting relative to that. I hope you guys can hear me. Hey, thank you. Been with you guys for 40 minutes, 41 minutes. Thank you for blessing with your ears. But there's a lot of things, but the two main rules that I failed dismally at following was over trading and over leveraging, over exposure. And the only way I had to change that was through my personal life. I had to understand that I am doing these things out of impulse. I'm doing these things because I want it more than anyone. But the fact that I want it more than anyone, this is not a doing industry. This is an efficient industry. So I need to be efficient. I don't need to do more. I need to do more, not do more. I need to do less efficiently. You know what I'm saying? I need to be the most efficient person out there. Personally, I would expect the next minute candlestick to open and spool higher. We can move our stop just below that down there. And if the next candlestick opens and does not spool higher for target, then we are wrong. Then we might get stopped out. But this is also trade management. This is what I'll teach next year. I'm not going to teach now. For now, you know me, 20 handle stop, 20 handle TP. But this was just to showcase to one of my favorite students, basically, because you're asking such lovely questions. But you have to set rules for yourself, and those rules have to be set in stone. And it's not a matter of can you or can you not follow them. It's a matter of will you or will you not. That's it. If you won't, then you'll pay the price for it, and you'll watch as your life begins to fail in front of you. If you follow the rules, then you'll watch as your life begins to get built in front of you. That's the reality you're in. Choose one. Whatever one you choose, that's the one that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. So personally, I chose the latter, where I chose to invest in myself. I chose to believe in myself. I chose to be the most efficient person out there, and I chose to trust time. That's it. Every other person will fail you. From family to friends. People you never believed will fail you, they will fail you. But the only thing that will never fail you is time. Because tomorrow will always come if you're alive. If you have breath in your lungs, you will experience tomorrow. And you need to live, eat, breathe that in trading. If you still have equity in your account, you can trade tomorrow. If you lose everything, you can't be in the arena. And you have to feel what it's like to not be in the arena of making or losing money. You have to feel it. You have to. When you lose money and you blow that account, sit and eat that feeling. Hate it. Despise it. Engrave it into your heart and say, you will never experience that again. That's like going to a toxic ex that you hate because they are very abusive. They verbally abuse you. They physically abuse you. But you still keep going to them. You still keep meeting them. You're still giving them calls, expecting them to change. That's what you're doing to your trading. You keep investing in a toxic relationship with your over leveraging and over trading and expecting it to be fruitful and that's bull crap. That's the sunk cost fallacy. Thinking just because you have so many chips inside, that means that it has to play out, so add more chips. And notice how we're just consolidating at these highs. Apologies. I don't know. I thought we were going to do it in the previous minute, but it didn't. So we're in uncharted territory, and we're literally just 3 handles from target. 3 handles from target. But if it stops me out, then that'll be better than it's a beautiful 20 handle execution in and of itself. But anyways, you'll never experience this reality ever, where you execute at the highs and the lows, because you don't believe you can. And the fact that you don't believe you can, you don't. But you need to live in that reality. You need to accept it. You need to be the most efficient person out there. And eventually it will happen to you. Eventually you will get it. It will click for you. But for now, be patient. Allow time to play its course. Allow time to play its factor. And if you never allow time, you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. You're going to be stuck doing the same mistakes because you get yourself there. You're going to be stuck investing in the same toxic relationship, thinking it will prove fruitful, only for it to not. That's sad. That is sad. So don't put yourself in that reality. Don't live in that reality, because that's not yours. You're in a reality where you overcome things. You are a person who understands their own worth and knows how to go and take it. Your worth is not defined by what other people say. So that's the person you need to be. That's the reality you need to live in, because that's the truth. You are that. You need to live, eat, breathe that. Because if you do, then and only then would you be able to follow your rules with the utmost of efficiency, because you trust that your rules over time will serve you, because you've seen it and you need to see it. But the only thing that's serving you now, the only thing that you're consistent about now is your inconsistency. The only thing you're consistent about is your ability to over leverage when the time needs be. When the time comes to over leverage and over trade, you are there. You're consistent in that regards. It's crazy. And you make it look easy. But the funny thing is, when you're met with the other side of the spectrum, where your goal is to make money, you fumble. And the reason you do that is because you are failing dismally to regulate your personal life and regulate your trading life as well. Because what happens here is not a depiction of your success over time. It should not make you or break you. It's just a trade. It's just your ability to read the tape. Can you read it with efficiency? And when you get it wrong, don't beat yourself up for it. You get to do it again tomorrow. And be blessed that you still have equity in your account, because there's some people out there who that's their last account. That was their last dollar. And they've given up trading and they'll never do it again. And I know you've had that thought. I know you've had that thought of, this is not for me. I'm never going to do this again. I hate this. This is the worst. Why do I keep hurting myself? Why can't I stick to it? You keep fighting and beating yourself up and being angry at yourself and being frustrated, and not realizing that the more you feel that is the further away you get from being an executor. The higher the highs, the lower the lows. So the more accounts you blow, the worse it gets. The more money you lose, the worse it gets. Because what are you doing? You're perpetuating negative behavior and you're reinforcing it, because that's what this market is for. This market reinforces behaviors. If you're an over leverager, you're going to get anxious that one day your over leveraging gambler is going to come, because you've always let him. like what the hell? If we take out that swing low, then I'm done. That low right there. There we go, baby. Bagged and tagged. Bam. Anyways, but that's just the conversation. If you don't do that, you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. That's who you're going to be for the rest of your freaking life. So be the best version of you. Execute at the utmost of efficiency. Don't be afraid. Follow your rules, because your rules will guide you there. And your rules, you should be able to write them at the back of your business card. 6 previous ranges, 6 previous levels, previously high, lows, 50% of that, 75 and 25%. And now we're going to break the high and lows using the inefficiency. And are we entering at time? 3-minute intervals. Beautiful. Anyways, thank you so much for blessing with your ears, and I'll see you again, same time, same place, baby. Bam.